Through Holes Shine the Stars is the latest full-length album from Demon Head. This is their fifth album, and this is a Copenhagen, Denmark-based traditional heavy metal band who have elements of gothic rock and gothic metal in their sound more recently. And originally they had more of a pentagram or witchcraft style sound, which focused on classic 70s heavy metal, late 70s, and a little bit of doom. They've always been kind of a doom rock band, but over time they've built their own sound, and they call it diabolic rock. I think that's pretty interesting. It doesn't exactly cover all the bases here. There is an oaken sort of occult feeling to a lot of their work. I would classify it as gothic occult rock, if that makes sense. Overall, this is one of those underrated bands because they aren't outright catchy, but they have a sound that should typically be accompanying very catchy songwriting. In fact, they've always preferred more knotted and creative types of songwriting, and that means complex rhythms, interplay between vocals, a lot of really unique touches to all of their work. And so it's taken them a while to really get noticed and get notarized by the general public because they're not outright catchy. They're just kind of eerie. It's a band of zombies in a lot of ways. And this is probably their most haunting work to date. It actually follows up their darkest work to date, which was Viscera. Viscera was their debut for Metal Blade, and I think that it was kind of a weird reception for that album because it was completely dark. It was very dour and serious. It was the production was very grimy, and it was kind of a miserable record. But it was also their first heavier step into gothic rock beyond the In Solitude influenced Hellfire Ocean Void, which I really loved back at the time when it released. As much as I really liked the retro heavy rock sound of their early albums, I think they really stepped into their own with Hellfire Ocean Void. And in a way, this record steps back to that mode and expands upon it with more of a personal signature. And their note for this record is we're doing this a little bit less introverted this time. So let's cut to a song here, and we'll see what's true about that and what's still just good old Demon Head. So up front, I have to tell you all of the vocals on this album are accompanied in unison throughout the entire thing. There are two vocalists here, and they are always making noise at the same time, and they don't break that. They don't even really harmonize that often. There's a couple of songs where it's really pronounced, but at all times there is one vocalist singing the main lead of most of the songs, and then there's the other vocalist accompanying it with a different tone. And so that is going to be completely maddening for some people, as it was for me when I started listening to this record. But it makes sense in creating the kind of oppressive and depressive vibe of this record as they cut through some more eclectic sounds and generally work a little bit more atmosphere into their sort of more patient songwriting craft. So in a way, yes, they're being more direct, they're being a little bit more extroverted, but when these folks get more extroverted, maybe it becomes a little more King Diamond-esque, maybe it becomes a little bit more heavy rock in general, but that doesn't mean that they're simplifying their work. And I liken this to another Danish band, In Circles Deeper. If you listen to that record, it really goes through the motions, and it is a very emotionally driven, a little bit gothic heavy metal record. And it makes sense that a band like Slaked are guesting on this record too. It's the type of band that gets compared to Ghost, but really never sounded anything like them. It has that old oaken vibe to it. It has that dark, serious depressiveness to it. But these guys sound a bit more serious, and when they carry a tune, it's not a simple pop melody in most every case. These are, I believe there's a love for kind of classic folk rock in there somewhere, and the 70s heavy rock is their way of escalating that into something that is decidedly their own. The point to make here is that this band really just sound like themselves now. It took them a couple of records to figure out where they could insert themselves into something that was more than just retro rock, and now they're just beyond that point. This is their own sound, and it's depressive, it's gloom-stricken, it's moody in a way that is very satisfying for my own taste, but also the personalized touch they bring to it makes it something of an event for me as I've admired their sound, and I didn't really expect them to get to this point beyond Hellfire Ocean Void. That was a record that just wasn't quite getting there with it in this way. And I feel like this record finally gets there. So, generally it's just a great depressive heavy rock record that doesn't go too over the top, doesn't go get into cheese, and really just writes strong, intricate songs that will become memorable over time if you give them a chance. So this one is worth giving some time and some care to its depth, because there's a lot of depth here, and I think it's really worth traversing. So check that out. It releases tomorrow on September 20th. And read my review for more of my thoughts, and see if this is your kind of thing.